Kevin Swindell. They lead the field. Green flag in the air. We're underway from Pocono. Brennan Poole beginning to check out on second place.
There's no question that Kevin Swindell has a fast race car.
Big wreck. Bobby Gerhart involved in the 5. Very close racing here between the two teammates.
As flawless a race as a driver can have.
He will be the first repeat winner. Brennan Poole wins at Pocono.
Welcome to the ARCA Series. We are in Pocono, ladies and gentlemen. The infield is packed. Everybody is ready for racing here. Today it is the Pocono, Pennsylvania Arca 125. This is a 50-lap sprint today, and we have got an incredible field of cars here. At the front of the field, Brennan Poole on the pole today. This young man, for the third time up front here, and right beside him, he'll have his teammate in the 55. Behind him, the number 17 of Chris Buescher. We've got a good point battle going this year. And now let's go up to the booth to Rick Allen and Phil Parsons.
And thank you, Ray. Again, the weather looks to be pretty nice here for our second race of the day from Pocono. 85 degrees, partly cloudy. Humidity just 57%, and a light breeze as well. And hello once again as we're getting ready for the second race of the afternoon. Alongside Phil Parsons, I'm Rick Allen. Now, this one comes down to we've had a lot of success from the Venturini Motorsports clan here. And right now we have Brennan Poole up front.
Yeah, Brennan Poole's been on the pole for the last 3 races here. He won this race in dominating fashion back in June, but he's got a great cast of characters behind him. But the Venturini cars have been good this entire season. They've won 3 of the last 8 races. Here's Brennan Poole right here. A fine, fine young man here. This is him winning that race back in June. You see second place is nowhere in sight. That's how dominating Brennan was here.
So Brennan Poole goes to victory lane earlier this year, but also we have a great points battle building up here in the ARCA Racing Series. As we take a look, Chris Buescher on top of the point standings.
He's
has
only
done pretty well.
10 points ahead right now of Brennan Poole. Brennan gained a little bit in qualifying. You get points for the top 3 positions. Brennan was able to gain 10 more points on Chris Buescher. He's now 70 points ahead of the 44 of Frank Kimmel. So we've got a good three-horse race right now.
Very impressive. Frank Kimmel, the most recent to go to victory lane. And now it is time to get the engines fired. So we go back to pit road for today's command.
We'd like to thank Mallory Ignition for providing over 1 million miles of reliable product performance to the series teams and drivers since 2005. Here to give the command for today's ARCA Pennsylvania 125 is Rob Kohler, brand manager for Mallory Ignition.
Drivers, start your engine!
Horsepower comes back to life from Pocono Raceway. When we come back, the green flag will fly on the next 50-lapper here. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by AutoZone. For the auto parts, accessories, and advice you need, get in the zone. AutoZone. And by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs. So many times when we talk about stock car racing, we talk about it being a family sport. And it is no more prevalent than in the ARCA Racing Series, how much family is important to these teams.
From a solid family unit and strong-willed parents who taught their children right from wrong, discipline, and all the proper essentials to rise above, Frank Kimmel followed his family footsteps right into the big leagues. His rise from small-town Indiana's Little Leagues to the national championship spotlight is nothing short of amazing. One of 7 brothers and sisters who grew up in this tiny 2-story block house, Frank Kimmel proved the American dream is absolutely worth the grind to get there. And once he earned his first ARCA title in 1998, the championships, records, and rewards would soon follow. With Iowa businessman and car owner Larry Clements backing, his brother Bill is crew chief, the combination churned out championship after championship from 2000 up through 2007, stacking up an incredible, record-breaking, and unrivaled 9 series titles. There was seemingly no stopping Kimmel. That was until a young Justin Allgaier turned the tide with a title of his own in 2008. The youth movement gained even more momentum when Justin Lofton and Parker Kligerman staged a year-long duel during which Lofton edged Kligerman by just 5 points for the coveted crown in 2009. ARCA had become the go-to series for driver development. Young Ty Dillon, the grandson of Richard Childress, the latest example in 2011, writing his name in the record books as ARCA's youngest national champion.
We come from a very tight family of the Kimmels to also an extremely tight family of the Childress and Dillon family there, with Kimmel dominating the early part of the 2000s, and then it was Ty Dillon who got the most recent championship.
Yeah, and Ty just had a great run here, finished 6th after trouble on the first lap of the race. So great proving ground here in the ARCA Racing Series. Joey Coulter got his start here in this series as well. He ended up in victory lane a few minutes ago.
Winning the Menards pole presented by Ansel was the 25 of Brennan Poole. Brennan Poole dominating the qualifying procedures, was able to jump out front and not look back. He was actually the 3rd car to go out in qualifying, and then no one came close after he had taken the track. Take a look at our starting lineup for today's race. Again, up front, it's Brennan Poole, and on his outside, A.J. Henriksen.
Yeah, not Venturini cars, both on the front row right here.
It's a dominated Venturini front 2 rows. We see Ryan Reed back there as well, 3 in the top 4. And then Chris Buescher, we talked about, our points leader, out in front by 10 points.
Yeah, Chad Hockenbraw back in row number 3. His dad, Greg, is not here. First time he will miss one of Chad's ARCA races. We want to say hello to him. He's having back trouble. Get well soon, Greg.
And we saw Frank Kimmel, smile on his face after the last race at Lucas Oil Raceway, got back to victory lane for his 75th career win in the ARCA Racing Series. And surprisingly enough, he's still 2nd in the list of all-time winners in this series.
Yeah, Alex Gregory moves over to Coulter Motorsports here for this race.
Buster Graham back there in row 11 had a wild ride last year at this racetrack.
Ed Pompa driving the number 10 car here.
Mariette Defoe back in the series running the 40 car.
James Harvey Hilton back there in row number 15 with Darrell Basham, longtime ARCA competitor.
Don Thompson and Rick Clifton making up row 16. And the final row, George Cushman. And the 13 starts in the 18th row. Let's go back to Ray Dunlap for the Messina rookie spotlight.
Rick, it's always fun to watch some of these young drivers in the ARCA Series presented by Menards, and I've been watching Josh Williams. You know, he comes into this race today 13th in points, in a tie for 13th and 14th, but he's actually run much better than that this year. You know, he missed the race up in Elko, Minnesota, and when you miss a race in ARCA, you use a lot of points. And I'll tell you, Josh Williams has really been very impressive, and today they've got a brand new car. They bought this car from RAB Racing, and it's a former Carl Edwards short track car. They really believe it's a good piece of equipment, and Josh says this is his favorite racetrack, and yesterday was his 19th birthday, looking for a nice celebration, a piece of cake, and maybe a top 10. Jim Trado?
Well, Ray Dunlap, when it comes to talk at the front, Venturini share the front row, and they've shared the headlines this year with very fast race cars. But one car to watch has been Mr. Consistency. That's the Ruler Brothers team out of Chicago, Illinois, the number 17 car, their driver, Chris Buescher. He has had 8 top 10 finishes in the last 9 races, 2 wins this year, average speed, average finish, 6.2. They are chasing this championship. They're going to be pitted right next to the Venturini team at the 25 at the head of the pit road here. And Chris Buescher, indeed, has a very strong finish order here as well at Pocono. Last 3 races, top 5 finishes in all 3 of them. 1 race ago, 9-time series champion Frank Kimmel scored his 75th career victory. 19 of his wins have come since March of 2005 when the Mallory ignition system was introduced in the series. He's just one of 2 drivers to compete in every race since. The landmark of 1 million miles in competition using the Mallory ignition system was surpassed at Iowa Speedway last month. And by design, it limits the engine RPM to 8,800. And I'm telling you, it's no question. They saved a ton of money here, Phil. I'm guessing the owners love the fact they can get more use and more miles out of these engines thanks to Mallory.
Yeah, Jim, these guys used to turn close to 10,000 RPMs with these cars, and Arca said, okay, we need to limit this, and Mallory said, we have a way to do it. We're going to do it through the ignition boxes. 1 million miles, no failures. Pretty incredible.
Very impressive for Mallory Ignitions. We're going to ride along with a few different drivers. Phil?
We're going to ride along with the number 10 of Ed Pompa. That's the Milwaukee Crusher Company AA Rat Chevy. Ed finished 18th here in June.
Also riding along with Milcaduno, she is going to start in the 22nd position. We'll see if she can get up to the front.
We're going to ride along with Spencer Gallagher. Spencer starts from the 14th spot in the Allegiant Air Chevrolet, and he's finished in the top 10 3 of the last 6 races.
A.J. Henriksen, the 33-year-old, will be making a start on the second row. As he starts on the outside of the front row as he starts second in this race. So we'll have a great vantage point as to what it will be like making his way into turn number 1 on these restarts. This time it's the first time they will see the green flag. All cars in line 2 by 2 as they work down the long front stretch. Green flag in the air. We're underway.
A nice jump by Brennan Poole. He gets out and clears his teammate A.J. Henriksen.
A great start early on for Brennan Poole. They work their way through turn number 1. 2 and 3 wide.
Whoa, Ryan Reed almost into the outside wall. The same exact spot that Ty Dillon made contact on lap number 1.
Side by side for second as they work their way into the tunnel turn. Chris Buescher on the inside.
Ooh, Chris got loose getting that in that corner. Never got out of the throttle though.
Buescher's able to move up and hold on to second. Now the move by Chad Hockenbraw on the 58, trying to take second away.
Hey, we mentioned that Chad's mom and dad weren't going to be her first race. Greg, his dad, has ever missed it. He's running the Arca Series. You see Alex Bowman now on the inside of Chris Buescher in a side-by-side battle for third.
Hockenbraw finished second in this race just a couple months back when the Arca Racing Series was here. This is the 55th Arca Pocono race for this series.
You know, we saw what happened in the truck race, Rick, when these guys got inside their pit window about 20 laps. It's even less than that for these guys. They feel like if they run about 10 laps, they get in their window. We may see some guys come down and make green flag pit stops as early as lap 10 or 11.
A little bit bigger fuel cells here in the Arca Racing Series, so they're able to carry a little more fuel. That means going quite a few more miles. And so fuel strategy definitely could come into play in this race, right?
I agree, Rick, and what Phil said is just about right. One of the crew chiefs told me they could even come as early as 7. But here's the thing. I think most of these guys with the tire situation would like to get to about lap 20 at least before they make that first pit stop. Many of them say get their tires and be good to go. I'm not even sure if a couple of guys on my end will go with 4 tires. We'll see whether it's a green flag or yellow flag stop.
Thanks, Ray. Out in front, Brennan Poole, A.J. Henriksen, Buescher, Hockenbraw, and Bowman, your top 5. Riding along with Spencer Gallagher.
I think he's behind the 95 car, Michael Levine. Michael's had 3 top 15 finishes in a row the last 3 times out, really gaining on it. That young driver from Texas.
Good lead already for Brennan Poole, very similar to what we saw in the truck race earlier, where Nelson Piquet Jr. jumped out to a big lead, and the battles then ensued behind him. And right now, a good battle for second or third. Hockenbraw and Buescher fighting for that spot.
Yeah, Alex Bowman has been able to take over the second spot. I was talking to his crew chief, Paul Andrews, down in the garage area. He said, we never made a mock qualifying run. That's why we didn't qualify any better than we did. I said, well, who do you think is your main competition? He said, really, I think we have the best car in race trim. And right now, we'll see if he can set off and chase down Brennan Poole in that 25 car.
Alex Bowman 1.5 seconds back from Brennan Poole. Hockenbraw running in the 3rd spot. Buescher drops back to the 4th position. A.J. Henriksen in the 55 back to the 5th spot.
Chad Hockenbraw, a couple runner-up finishes this year. Still looking for career win number 1. But awfully good. He was good last weekend at at Lucas Oil Raceway and ended up having some trouble. Didn't get the finish he deserved, but has a pretty good car here early.
How about Frank Kimmel has made his way up now into the top 5. Dropping back to the 6th spot was A.J. Hendrickson. So after starting up on the front row, he has fallen 5 spots now into the 6th position.
I was talking to Frank Kimmel this week after that big win, and after so many years of not getting to victory lane, after winning so many times, he said it was so big for that. He said, my team, my family. It was great to see Frank back in victory lane.
Saw a little bit of tire rub out of that 17 of Buescher when he went into the tunnel turn, about right there the last time. This time not so much, but also saw it coming out of turn number 1 also. So might want to keep our eye on that left front tire for the 17 of Buescher as we see Kimmel making his way by Hockenbraugh, at least trying to make that pass.
We've completed 4 laps now. The air pressure will continue to build up here for a number of laps, but what may be rubbing right now may go away. It looked like it was better that time for Chris Buescher in the 17 car.
Drag race down the front straightaway as Hockenbraugh and Kimmel fighting for the 4th spot. Buescher's able to make the move up to the 3rd position.
That last time by, Alex Bowman did indeed have the fastest car in the racetrack. He was about a 1/10 of a second faster than Brennan Poole.
It's only 1.2 seconds now that separate Poole and Bowman. Bowman running in the 2nd spot. Buescher is 3rd. Hockenbraugh and Kimmel in your top 5. And we look from the 55, who's just behind that Hockenbraugh-Kimmel battle.
Yeah, Frank's been able to get by Hockenbraugh to take over that spot. Not out of the throttle long, you can hear it.
Completed 5 laps on lap 6, and already this field has spread out from our race leader Brennan Poole back to the final car on the lead lap is 52 seconds. So Brennan Poole setting a blistering pace early on here in the ARCA Racing Series. Welcome back. Michael Levine was running in the 13th spot, and he is now hit the wall. And it's brought out caution number 1 here from the racetrack.
Didn't make a great deal of contact, it doesn't look like. See if we can see what happened. Oh, he got a little bit loose down there. He's in the middle of a couple cars. Just nudges into the safer barrier. When that car swung around and hit the left front, that probably did more damage than anything else.
So we've completed 7 laps of racing of the 50. Again, getting up out of that groove, you saw a big check to the right there for Michael Levine.
Yeah, he was right behind the 66 of Nelson Canache, and looked like the thing just got a little bit out away from him. There's another view of it right here. You see it wiggled, and then it moved him up into the gray area where we haven't seen many vehicles up racing, and around he went.
So they will attend to Michael Levine. See if he wants to drive that car back to pit road or if he'll have to take a ride.
Yeah, that thing spun around and whopped the left front corner against the outside wall pretty hard.
Jim, what's going on? We're hearing a lot on the radio.
Well, they have also, some of the race leaders, including Brennan Poole, have elected to stay out, but Billy Venturini, his crew chief and car owner, said, tell me about your race car. As soon as that caution flag flew and things settled down, Brennan actually said something the competition won't want to hear. He said, the car started out a bit free, but the longer we run, we think the car is getting better. The driver has no complaints. Billy said, okay, just keep the rhythm. We'll keep you squared away, but very happy with his race car is Brennan Poole. As you see his crew chief, Billy Venturini, almost in a relaxed mode here as they led all but 3 laps here in June. This is the very same race car that they used to win that race just 8 weeks ago.
Thanks, Jim. And you see Billy Venturini on the left side there, crew chief for the 25. Already been to victory lane twice this year at Elko, and as you mentioned, in June here at Pocono. Aaron's lucky dog goes to Don Thompson in the 0. Don will get a lap back. That will put 31 on the lead lap when we come back. Welcome back to the Pennsylvania Arca 125. 8 laps have been complete, and already we've got some cars making their way to pit road, Ray.
Track bar adjustment for Chad Hockenbraugh and team number 58. They're going with 4 tires here. 2 reasons. Number 1, he said he'd like his entry to be better. And number 2, they think there's a chance we may have rain coming. If there is rain, they're in a window now where they've got enough fuel possibly to go the distance. This could be a strategy play for Chad Hockenbrough.
I like the strategy. I like coming in early. Right now, he's probably will make it to the full distance if we have to go that way. He may need a couple more caution laps, but if it does rain, then he's certainly good to go for the end.
A little bit of overcast skies here in the Long Pond, Pennsylvania area.
And there's a rule in this race that these guys, everybody will have to come to pit road by lap number 40. Mandatory pit stop before lap 40 for everybody in the series.
Still working on the 95 of Michael Levine, trying to get that car off of the racetrack. Take another look at what happened.
He's pulled at the rear bumper of Nelson Canache in the 66 car. Got a little bit loose. Then had to give that thing some more room and chase it up the hill. And when he did, he got in the loose stuff and around the back end came.
Smacks to the left side.
We just haven't seen very many vehicles running up as high as he was right there. After that initial wiggle, then he was up too high.
Jim Trado.
Guys, Michael Levine was very high right before the race on this race car. It's a car they bought from Kimmel Racing. This is the car that Frank Kimmel drove primarily on intermediate tracks just a year ago. He qualified 10th. They were very excited for this team that races both here and in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, but unfortunately a short end of the day for Michael Levine. Ray?
Well, speaking of Frank Kimmel, he has said on the radio that his race car is a little bit too free on stickers. But Jared Prince, his crew chief, said, we are not going to pit here for two reasons. We don't think we can make it on fuel. And number two, we want fresh tires for the end. We think this thing's going to go the distance, so they're planning on pitting somewhere around halfway.
And really, that's not that far away in this race, being only 50 laps.
15 laps away from halfway.
Yeah, Iggy Katona has the top mark as far as all-time wins, and Frank got a notch closer a week ago at Lucas Oil Raceway, where he got his 75th career win.
You see Jack Bowser with 55 wins. James Hilton went to Jack Bowser's shop in between our last race, Indianapolis, and before he came here.
James Hilton, the 77-year-old?
Yes.
We'll be right back. Tomorrow, NASCAR Race Day is live from Pocono, the 88's #1. Junior sits down for a special one-on-one interview to explain how he has gone from a chase hopeful to a championship favorite. Plus, Smoke and Rowdy join us live. NASCAR Race Day, fueled by Sunoco from Pocono. Tomorrow at 10 Eastern, live on Speed. And we talk about Smoke. How about this issue? Just got the Aaron's lucky dog, and Don Thompson's car is on fire as he climbs out of that race car.
Remember, these ARCA cars are still carbureted. No fuel injection for these cars. And looks like he had some sort of an issue, maybe with a car backfiring or something like that, or a fuel line came off, and pretty significant fire there.
So Don Thompson climbs safely out of the 0. Safety crew there to put the fire out. Spencer Gallagher in the 23. Making the unexpected left turn and heading into the ARCA garage.
Really strange. They'd run 2 or 3 laps under caution.
So Spencer Gallagher in the garage. Don Thompson out of his race car, as well as the guy that brought out the caution. Now take a look at the fire there on that 0.
Pretty considerable fire right there now. So that had to be fuel, I would think.
And the reason we're under caution was Michael Levine had got into the wall. But these 2 other incidents have taken place after that caution. So Don Thompson climbs out of the 0. And again, Spencer Gallagher in the garage. There is where that car is in relation to pit road. Didn't quite get onto pit road, at least all the way. And again, we talk about Spencer Gallagher behind the wall. Ray, what's going on with that team?
Well, Rick, it appears to be a battery issue. They said that they checked inside the engine compartment. Everything looks good. Mallory ignition's okay. But the engine just shut off. They looked inside and they said they're going to replace the battery. They believe that is the issue.
So a battery issue for Spencer Gallagher. While we've got a moment, we want to welcome another driver to our broadcast booth. We have Dakota Armstrong with us. Dakota, obviously, you just got off the racetrack, just ran in the Truck Series race here at Pocono. Had a great finish, top 15 finish. So how did you feel coming off of the racetrack?
You know, I think it took longer to get up to the booth here than it did to finish that race. Yeah, 50 laps was pretty short. But, you know, I kind of screwed our team there with the pits. On a green flag, I went past our pit stop, and that was just my bad. And lost a lot of position, but good job for them to, you know, fight back and still, you know, get back up there and finish on the lead laps. So just working on it, but, you know, I think we were a little better than where we finished, but we'll take it.
How about this season, though? This is your first full-time season here in the Camping World Truck Series. Has it been a learning experience for you?
For sure. You know, the trucks are definitely different than, you know, the cars. You know, the competition is obviously a lot tougher. You know, we've been making progress. You know, not as much as we thought we would at this point, you know, halfway through the season. But, you know, I think we're getting there. We're able to build new trucks now. So I think, you know, with everything, we've switched over manufacturers to Toyota, ThorSport team. So I think everything's kind of coming together there. Just once we get Johnny stop having bad luck, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, Johnny Sauter's bad luck continued today with a transmission issue. But Dakota, you obviously have experience here in the ARCA Racing Series. 3 wins as we get ready for the restart here. They come out of turn number 4. Again, out in front, Brennan Poole leading the field. Alex Bowman just behind him. Green flag back in the air.
We'll see if they fan out here as they cross the start-finish line. See them start to now. They get wider. There's 3 wide. Good strong restart by Brennan Poole out front.
Dakota, you finished second here before at this racetrack in the ARCA Racing Series, and we see a great battle for the top 2 right now as Brennan Poole and Alex Bowman race their way through turn 1 and down the Long Pond straightaway.
Yeah, you know, this is it was a track I really like, so I was really hoping for a lot here in the truck. But you know, the 22 I ran here last time, we were pretty good. Didn't really qualify, you know, great when we were here, but raced our way up and had a good finish there. Just needed a few more laps. I think we could have had a chance for the win.
Good battle for third building up here. Chris Buescher and Frank Kimmel. Kimmel looks to the inside now of that 17.
Boy, Frank looks pretty racy. Nothing like a little confidence that win from last week gave him.
Side by side as we ride along with the 55 of A.J. Henriksen. And down the straightaway, it looks as though Buescher able to get the advantage over the 44. But as they get ready to enter turn 1, we again see the smoke out of the left front of that 17 of Buescher.
Yeah, I was watching that 17 before. It was side by side for the lead. Alex Bowman closer to the inside of Brennan Poole.
Poole with the momentum on the outside, trying to race him into the tunnel turn. And a great battle for the third spot behind them. It's side by side for the lead, and Kimmel takes third away from Buescher. Now Bowman with the advantage as he is able to put the nose in front of that 25 of Poole. So Alex Bowman leading the field here at Pocono.
Well, Paul Andrews was right. I was saying, Dakota, but when we came on the air, that Paul Andrews said he thought they may have the best car here, and race trim is looking pretty good.
For sure, you know, and definitely in practice yesterday, you know, they were P1 for most of the practice, so they definitely look good in race trim.
Here comes A.J. Henriksen once again in that 55 as he's battling to the inside. The 17 of Buescher, and just behind that 44 of Kimmel. Bowman, Poole, Kimmel, Buescher, Henriksen, your top 5, and it's Grant Enfinger back there in 6th. Ryan Reed in 7th. Lofton, Kimmel, Will Kimmel, that is, in the 9th position, and Nelson Canache in 10th.
In the garage area earlier this morning, they were working on the 09 of Grant Enfinger. They had some sort of an oil leak. And I talked to the guys after they got it repaired. I said, did you have to change anything? He said, well, no, just use a lot of brake clean to clean up the mess.
Nelson Canache taking the position away from the 68 of Kimmel. 32 slapping the wall, it looks like.
Right at the exit of the corner, just a little bit of contact there. Matt Merrill is back in that car for his first start. He actually won last year at Berlin Raceway, back in that car for the first time in 2012.
Matt Merrill's best finish here at Pocono, second back in 2009. These two haven't decided who wants to be out front yet. Brennan Poole had the lead, but it was taken away by Alex Bowman after the restart. And now Bowman just a little over a 1/10 of a second in front of Brennan Poole. Kimmel, Henriksen, and Buescher, your top 5. Welcome back to the Pennsylvania Arca 125. 15 laps in the books, 35 to go. Alex Bowman out in front of Brennan Poole now.
See that blue car bottom of our screen? That's Spencer Gallagher. They obviously repaired that car back on the racetrack, but unfortunately it's being shown 4 laps down.
Thought they had a battery issue, so they went behind the wall.
And Michael Levine has been released from the infield care center. Checked and released.
Michael brought out our first caution. We also saw the 0 of Don Thompson. Had to jump out of his race car as it had caught on fire just at the entrance of pit road. Wasn't able to make it onto pit road.
You know, guys, we talk about the Venturini domination this year. They've won 3 of the last 8 races. Well, that young man driving that 22 car has also won 3 races all on its own this year. So that team's pretty strong as well.
And right now, it looks like these two definitely pretty equal right now on this race run for sure.
They've separated themselves by about 2 seconds over that third place running Menards Toyota Frank Kimmel.
Kimmel would love to get back to victory lane here at Pocono. There's a guy who has had success, 3 times a victor. The most recent, though, was 2006 for Kimmel, winning here at Pocono. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, it definitely was a battery on Spencer Gallagher's Allegiant Air car. They put a new battery in, and sometimes you got to be worried about the alternator. So what they did was just unhook the alternator. It can drain your battery down if it's not working properly. The other question is, did they just accidentally leave the car turned on throughout the course of the day? They're not sure what the result is, but they did put in a new battery, and he's back to the racetrack.
And Brendan Poole's looking a little racy here. We've completed 17 laps, coming now down to complete 18 laps. I think if I were some of these guys, I'd be thinking about Brent coming to pit road. How about you, Dakota?
Yeah, and that's actually what the Truck Series did. You know, we all decided, 18 was our point where we could make it, but these guys could have done it earlier. So I think, if it goes a little longer here, people are going to start making some green flag pit stops.
Well, we're seeing Alex Bowman and Brennan Poole move away from the rest of the field. Kimmel, who's running in the 3rd spot, is 2.6 seconds back now, and just about a lap ago it was 2 seconds. So they are pulling away from 3rd place as well as this field. A.J. Hendrickson running in the 4th spot, and Infinger in the top 5.
There's A.J. Hendrickson right now running in the 4th spot. Good run for him. An infrequent competitor here in the ARCA Racing Series, but has had some success over the years. Hasn't gotten a win, but he's had a 2nd place finish a few years ago at Charlotte when the series used to race at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, back in 2003, and has a best finish of 3rd here at this racetrack, and that was back in 2004. So 8 years have passed since that best finish from Pocono. See the hand going out the window there for Alex Bowman, giving a hand signal to Brennan Poole, potentially coming to pit road.
I think he just wanted to let him know that he was going to give him the outside, give him plenty of room.
Okay.
But I was interesting. I saw the fire come out of the exhaust pipes of Brennan Poole, and it's amazing. He was already turning into the corner. That's how far, with the grip that you were talking about, Dakota, that's how far these guys are able to drive in the corner.
Yeah, and it's a lot different, from when I was here in the ARCA, just the amount of grip they have, and through the trial, how much faster they're running.
Gap has been closed. Here comes Brennan Poole looking to the inside of that 22 of Alex Bowman. This is for the race lead.
Getting signs on that lead, didn't he?
At a turn 3, now Bowman separating himself from Brennan Poole.
This car is pretty evenly matched, but it's allowed Frank Kimmel to close in just a little bit. Now Frank's moved in inside of 2 seconds behind, and he was the fastest car on the racetrack that last lap.
Once again, Brennan Poole trying to hug that yellow line down at the bottom of the racetrack. That gives him the advantage. Coming down Long Pond straightaway. Here comes the 25 of Brennan Poole trying to pass back that 22 of Alex Bowman.
Looks like Brennan Poole has position. Does a nice job getting down in the tunnel turn. Opens up 3-4 car lengths, maybe even more than that, on the 2nd place car of Alex Bowman at the exit of the tunnel.
Chad Hockenbraugh losing a little ground on the competition as he's working his way through the turn. Hockenbraugh in the 58.
Remember, he's already been to pit road, Rick. He may be in the driver's seat right now. Good side-by-side battle. Ryan Reed, the 15, the 4 for Venturini, Chris Buescher, and 3 wide, Matt Lofton on the inside.
The run by Lofton goes to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to take the spot away. That'll be for 6th, and you still see that smoke on the left front of Buescher. There's got to be an issue there.
It's getting worse, too, I think. I thought it may get better as the air pressure built up, but I believe it's getting worse.
Yeah, if that's not a brake problem, if that's a tire getting your thinner, that's not good. The longer you go, that could cut down the left front for sure.
We've seen a lot of smoke as he was entering the turns. That time it was turn 1 where we saw the most smoke. And you talk about a brake issue. hard on the brakes when you go into turn number 1.
Yeah, not as much as it used to be, but definitely, you're carrying a lot of speed, and I think, these things don't have as much drag as a truck, so they definitely get going really fast on that straightaway and have to definitely slow it down because that turn 1's pretty sharp.
Nice move by Matt Lofton to get a couple spots. Moves him up to the 6th position.
Ryan Reed tucks in behind him in the 15, holding on to 7. Those two separated by 0.2 of a second. The gap between 1 and 2 is 1.7 seconds. Brennan Poole over Alex Bowman, already almost 2 seconds. Into the wind tunnel as Dave Despain takes on the hottest stories in racing and trades a little paint with the biggest names in the world of motorsports. Don't miss Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain. That's tomorrow 9 Eastern, live on Speed. Welcome back. The ARCA Racing Series going at it here on Pocono Raceway. Brennan Poole in front of Alex Bowman by 2 seconds. After making that pass, Poole has really checked out on Alex Bowman.
Yeah, and it looks like the 25's actually gained a little more speed from what he was running when he was behind him, and the 22s look like he's slowing up, so something either getting really tight or really loose there.
Bowman running second, Kimmel is third, A.J. Henriksen fourth. Grant Infigure has moved into the top 5 as Ryan Reed drops back to 6th. Lofton in 7th. Buscher and Kimmel, Will Kimmel that is, in 9th, and then Nelson Canache 10th. You see the 55 of A.J. Henriksen running in the 4th spot. What's happening with that team, Jim?
Guys, he started on the front row next to his Venturini Motorsports teammate. This car and the race leader Brennan Poole both have Joe Gibbs Racing engines in them, which makes a difference for this team. They really seem to pick up a lot of horsepower. But unfortunately for A.J. Henriksen, in one of his limited starts this year, just the 3rd time behind the wheel, he said the car is actually better behind someone else. It gets real tight under throttle if he's out in clean air. So he's tucked in behind Frank Kimmel for now, running in the 4th position here. Just ahead of him is that 0-2 of Josh Williams. But the reason why A.J.'s not up with Brennan, he can't get to him if he's in clean air. He's got to run in dirty air because that's where the car runs better.
Yeah, the 0-2 of Josh Williams is being shown 3 laps down now. He had some sort of an issue. You see A.J. move by on the inside at the entrance to the tunnel.
And really with that dirty air, I think what he means is that, the draft is so big here now with, having to slow him up and how much grip it has that if you aren't handling as good through a corner, that draft from the guy in front of you kind of handicaps if you're handling bad, and you can still get a good run down the straightaway and gain on him a little bit.
How about the ground that Frank Kimmel has made up on the 22 of Alex Bowman as we've reached the halfway point?
Well, we got there quick, didn't we?
We sure did. When you have a 50-lap race, it happens very quick. 25 laps remaining, and Bowman just in front of Frank Kimmel. That is the battle for the 2nd spot.
Dakota, I'm like you. I think maybe that 22 car has had some sort of an issue. Now, he's still maintaining a pretty good speed, but he's not as fast as he was before.
No, not at all. I mean, he was running times where the 25 is still at, and he's slowed up a little bit. How much he's been gapped here in the last 5 laps, definitely a handling issue.
So again, we've passed the halfway point of this race. Phil, as you mentioned, it's mandatory that you make a pit stop before lap 40, so they have about 15 laps to decide when they're going to come onto pit road. And we're hearing that Frank Kimmel may be coming onto pit road soon.
Yeah, I think it's a great strategy. Now he would hope that the caution flag would come out because he's close enough to the front. He's not going to lose a lap making this pit stop unless he has a catastrophic problem on pit road.
So Kimmel has made his way onto pit road and heading toward Ray Dunlap.
Just a tiny bit loose for Frank Kimmel. He said we can make that up. And air pressure, that's his crew chief Jared Prince talking on the radio. So this Ansel and Menard's Toyota, pretty good. Frank Kimmel saying, I think we may have another winner here, guys. You saw the rear wheel spin just a tiny little bit there. They will pit here on lap 26. If this thing stays green, could be a good position for Kimmel. The 22 of Alex Bowman on the radio saying maybe we should do the same strategy.
As long as Frank Kimmel gets out on the racetrack in front of Brennan Poole. Remember, in the ARCA Racing Series, no waiver rounds like the Truck Series has.
So he has to stay out in front of the 25 of Brennan Poole. It looks as though he's going to make that happen as he's getting back up to speed going into turn 1.
Is that Brennan Poole right there at the entrance of turn number 1? It's going to be close. Frank may not be quite up to speed. He's not up to speed.
Didn't get it done. So Kimmel doesn't come off of pit road in front of the 25 of Poole.
And now he doesn't want the caution flag to come out because he would find himself a lap behind Brennan Poole.
So now will Brennan Poole utilize the fact that he's in front of maybe his closest competitor in Frank Kimmel and stay out on the racetrack longer and hope for that caution flag to come out?
No, I think he has a good enough car right now that I think he's going to need to get to pit road. He certainly wants to do it before the caution flag waves. But if nobody else comes to pit road, if Frank's the only one that does it, then he's really going to be at no disadvantage stopping under caution.
Just 23 laps remain. Brennan Poole now with 4.6 seconds over second place Alex Bowman, as again Frank was running in the second spot. So Kimmel gave up the second position to come on to pit road to pit under green, knowing that he can get the rest of the way to the checkered flag on this run of fuel. But Poole still continuing to set a blistering pace. Infinger running in the fourth spot. Ryan Reed is fifth. Lofton, Busher, Will Kimmel, Kanache, and Hockenbraw your top 10.
And Hockenbraw's made his way up into the top 10. Remember now, he pitted on the caution back on lap number 8.
Matt Merrill, Kyle Martell, Davis, Gerhardt, Gregory, Fox, and Cushman in the top 17, all on the lead lap. Brennan Poole with just 21 laps remaining in this race out in front of Bowman. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Ansel. For over 100 years, the world leader in hand protection. Welcome back. Green flag racing continues. Brennan Poole out in front of Alex Bowman by 4.5 seconds. Then it's A.J. Hendrickson, Grant Infinger, and Ryan Reed, your top 5.
That last lap Brennan Poole ran was a 53.64 Dakota. That looked like that was one of his fastest laps, maybe in the last 8 or 10.
Yeah, you know, that's a really fast pace, you know, compared to the rest of the field. So he has definitely got the car to beat right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do for pit strategy here.
What did your truck do when you ran the fuel out? He's obviously getting a little bit lower on fuel right now. Did your truck balance?
I mean, I thought it was better. You know, we were able to go you know, wide open through the tri-oval once the fuel ran down, and you know, really I think before we couldn't just because, you know, traffic. But you know, maybe that's what's happened now is that, you know, they're getting a little handle, you know, a little better with that fuel running out.
There's Alex Bowman. Again, he is running in the second spot. You see the 44 of Kimmel just in front of him, but Kimmel has been to pit road and is 1 lap down.
And he is the most nervous guy here at this racetrack. I'm sure him and his crew chief are right now, because he knows if the caution flag comes out now that he is going to find himself a lap down and may or may not be in position to get that Aaron's lucky dog.
Yeah, right now he's not in position. He is not the highest scored non-lead lap car. That falls into the 61 of Alex Gregory.
That's him right in front of Frank Kimmel, so Frank desperately needs to get by him. But then you've got other cars. You got Bobby Garrett on the verge of going a lap down to Brennan Poole, and that would keep Frank from getting that Aaron's lucky dog.
That's what Brennan Poole is continuing to try to do, is put cars a lap down as he sets a great pace. Just 54 seconds his last lap time, and that was the fastest lap by any car on the racetrack.
Yeah, Ryan Reed that time had the second fastest lap at a 54.40, a full 0.4 of a second slower than Brennan Poole. He runs in the 5th spot.
Ryan Reed currently 14 seconds behind our race leader, Brennan Poole. Right now, the separation between 1 and 2 is over 6 seconds.
That's a battle for second right there. A.J. Hendrickson now moving in the inside of Alex Bowman.
And as soon as he moves to the inside of Bowman, it looks as though the 61 of Alex Gregory moves down in front of him, so they split him. Going on the inside and outside, and Bowman with a big run from the high side, able to stay in front of that 55.
Yeah, Hendrickson lost a little bit momentum, having to go to the inside, had to pinch that car down, probably had to squeeze out of the throttle a little bit.
Yeah, especially now that the way this track is, you know, everyone was talking about you're almost back to the gas before you can even see the straightaway, so you know, you get pinched off like that, and guy on the outside is going to get the run back around you there.
Good green flag run here for the ARCA Racing Series. Just 18 laps of racing to go. What that means is those that have not come to pit road for a pit stop, they have 18 laps or 8 laps to do it in, because you have to pit by lap 10 to go. And right now the laps are winding down for those guys to make that decision.
Yeah, Hendrickson going after Bowman once again for the 2nd spot. Right now he has a little bit better car. Nice run through the center of turn number 3, pulls to the inside.
Side by side again for position. Hendrickson on the inside, Bowman on the outside. Across the stripe that time, Bowman gets the advantage, but it was only by 1/1000th of a second that Bowman was in front of Hendrickson at the stripe. And a little contact made there, it looked like, as we saw the 55 trying to slide out of the way.
That was the 40 of Mariev Defoe. Good to have Mariev back in the field, but a close moment there for A.J. Hendrickson.
I think A.J. Hendrickson was like, nah, I don't want to kiss right now. But the sheet metal did touch it, looked like, as they were going through one. Take a look once again. Wow, very close.
Very close.
You see, Mariev wasn't that far off the yellow line, but again, with this new surface, there's not a whole lot of room. The groove hasn't widened out all that much. It certainly is at least 2 lanes wide, but probably not 3.
Nope. There's Mariev Defoe coming out of turn 3.
And Bobby Gerhardt, that's him right there in the Lucas Oil Chevrolet. He has been lapped, so right now he is in position to get the Aaron's lucky dog if it were to come out.
Kimmel has actually gotten in front of Bobby Gerhardt.
Frank just got by him now, so that puts Frank in position. And right now, Brandon Davis is the next car to go a lap down, and he's about 20 seconds ahead of our leader.
We haven't talked a lot about the 09 of Grant Infinger in that Ford, but the fastest running Ford on the track right now, Ray.
Yeah, and they're in 4th place right now, Rick, but here's the deal. They can only go to lap 38, so they know they need to pit here before the mandatory caution. But what Grant just said on the radio was, I'm a good bit tight, so what I want you to do is bump up the air pressures about 1 or 2 pounds all the way around, because we're going to have such a short run. I want to be able to get right back to it and not have to wait 3 or 4 laps for the air pressure to build up. So they're going to go with more air. He should be coming to the pits in the next 2 laps.
And we're going to see a lot of action coming to pit road here very shortly. So we'll take a quick break and be right back with green flag pit stops for Pocono. Monday night, head to the center of the stock car world with the Hub. As the dust settles from Pocono, we'll break down all the weekend action from the Tricky Triangle, plus get the latest news in the world of racing. NASCAR Race Hub, Monday, 6 Eastern, only on Speed. And it looks as though A.J. Hendrickson in the 55 staying down on the low side of the racetrack and may have run out of fuel.
Yes, we're hearing that he ran out of fuel, stretched it too far. Remember, we had pace laps. Alex Bowman now makes his way to pit road, gives 2nd position up.
Let's go to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Well, here comes the St. Jude's Children's Hospital Dodge. This is Alex Bowman. His car went from a little bit tight on entry and snappy loose off to tight all the way around. You see track bar adjustment about to happen in the right rear. This will be a 4-tire stop. They go with that track bar. They'll go down. Now let's go and check in with Jim Trado.
Ray, Matt Lofton came into this race looking for a very strong finish. His car mentor, Joey Coulter, just won the truck race. They needed a little more air pressure and a track bar adjustment. They went 4 tires. They went up on the track bar 1 round on Matt Lofton on the 16. Indeed, the 55 of A.J. Hendrickson was out of fuel. Big Bill Benarini came running down to Billy, his son, saying that's out of fuel. Maybe you want to pit now if the caution comes out. The 5-5 is a teammate to the 25, Brendan Poole, our race leader. Poole is now heading down pit road. He's on pit stall number 1, all the way down pit road speed, 45 miles per hour. Here he comes now. The 25 of Poole has been dominant here at Pocono the last 3 times here. He's led from the pole. He led 77 of 80 laps here last June. The Kinetic Gasket Toyota's now in. They're going to go to the right sides first. Fuel in. The Sunoco fuel can number 1 going in. A little bit slow on the right front for Poole. He kills the engine now, but they're still working on the left side tires. Left side tires are now going on Poole's car. The 2nd can of Sunoco fuel is in. Real clean with a light on the way he's gone. And Poole is down. The 17 is also expected here shortly.
So a little steam coming out of the 25 car, Brendan Poole. Guys, remember we talked about Chad Hockenbraugh and making that pit stop? Well, right now he has moved his way up into the top 5. And he's going to, when everyone cycles back and makes these pit stops, he's going to be in the driver's seat.
A.J. Hendrickson in the 55 after running out of fuel. Oh, and this could be a problem. This could bring out the caution now, as the 35 of Tom Birdie stalled on pit road.
That would be horrible for Chad Hockenbraugh, for that a teammate to venture in to cause this caution flag.
Ray Grant Infinger down on pit road.
He is, and the Mother Honey car ready to go here. They are trying to get the right side tires off, but there is a problem, a hang up on that right front. looked like they had one lug nut that would not come loose, so they're going to lose some time here, especially with this being under green flag. They can't get the jack around to the left side, so disastrous pit stop here for Grant Enfinger. He was running in the top 5. They'll clean the grill and they'll get that car back to the racetrack, but he lost a lot of time, guys.
You see the Venturini crew going out to the aid of the 35 of Tom Burry. They're going to push that car back to his pit stall. There's the 09 making his way off. Grant Enfinger, who was running in the top 5. Now it's Hockenbraugh, as you had talked about, Phil. After all of the pit stops are cycling through, Hockenbraugh looks like he has the advantage with just 11 laps of racing to go. Hockenbraugh in front of Grant Enfinger.
I like that strategy when he did it. Now, can he go the distance? He has to run 42 laps after he last came on pit road for fuel. They had a couple caution laps filled in there, but remember, we saw the 55 car run out in 35, 36 laps, including pace laps. Not including pace laps.
Not including those pace laps. Enfinger, Poole, Kimmel, Will Kimmel, and Alex Bowman. But it's going to be Brennan Poole that's going to make his way up into the second spot as we see the 17 of Chris Buescher still trying to fight back in the top 10 here, Jim.
And they're doing it with a 2-tire change, Rick. They came down and just changed 2 right side tires. They went 4 turns on the track bar. He said a moment ago the car is borderline free, but center off is terrible. So Buescher, just like he did in June, just 2 right side tires, incident free on pit road. He made up a lot of time under these green flag stops for the point leader, Buescher in the 17.
And I hope they were looking at the left side tire too, because we've seen a lot of smoke out of the left front of Buescher. Out in front, Chad Hockenbraugh leading at Pocono. Next Saturday, speed returns to the action. The danger and the intense pressure of the Glen. As the championship battle heats up, it's time to separate the contenders from the pretenders. The Rolex Sports Car Series live from Watkins Glen next Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed. Chad Hockenbraugh in front of the field. Brennan Poole running second. Alex Bowman is third. Kimmel, Ryan Reed, Buescher, Lofton, Enfinger, Will Kimmel, and Nelson Canache. Top 10, and the only ones right now on the lead lap.
Great battle right here for 4th. Frank Kimmel's going to get that spot from Ryan Reed.
We talk about pit strategy, and Chad Hockenbraugh may have played it to perfection. Right now he has a 26-second lead over second place Brennan Poole.
He was the only one of our top 10 right now that employed that strategy. We talked about it. We saw it, Dakota. We saw it work during the truck race. Everybody did that during the truck race.
And, I'm actually surprised more people didn't pit, early like that. But if this keeps going green, he's going to be hard to catch this far ahead.
Chad Hockenbraugh has never been to victory lane in the ARCA Racing Series. His best finish ever came right here. Second place, Pocono, earlier this year. Right.
Rick, I just climbed up on the pit box, talked to Kevin Reed, the crew chief for Hockenbraugh. I said, how close are on the fuel? He said, we got a 5 lap to the good margin right now. So looking pretty so far.
Well, that's a lot now. 5 laps over. He had to run 42 laps to get to 50 laps and 5 over that. That's a lot. I think if I was Kevin Reed, I would back him down a little bit. He has, as Dakota mentioned, he has almost a 25-second lead. He's running within a half a second of as fast as Brennan Poole. I believe I would slow him down a second or so.
Yeah, that's kind of the deal where you play the way Tony Stewart ran here, and definitely just slow down a little bit and keep the lead, and definitely use that fuel mileage to his advantage and make sure he doesn't run out like the 55 did.
Okay, you're leading the race at Pocono. You've never won an ARCA Racing Series race, and your crew chief comes on and says slow down. What do you think you're going to do?
Slow down. Absolutely slow down.
Would not. I tell you to slow down in the rental car. You don't do it. We're not racing for anything.
That's different. You're not my crew chief.
What a great race, though, that Hockenbraugh and his crew chief have called already. Again, all they need to see is that green flag stay in the air for less than 7 laps. That's all that is remaining. Hockenbraugh has a very large lead over Brennan Poole, who looked very strong early on, as did Alex Bowman. Those two are running second and third. Kimmel is running in the 4th spot.
We're getting a report from the pits that the crew chief finally said slow down a little bit. I mean, with only less than 7 laps to go here, with a 22.5-second lead now, he has a little bit of time to slow down and still have a comfortable lead.
The last lap, the fastest lap turn, Alex Bowman, just over 53 seconds, right at about 53 flat. Hockenbraugh, his last lap was 54.5 seconds. And now he's slowed that down just a tick. He's 54.8 seconds the last time by with 6 laps to go.
Doing a nice job there drafting off that 35 of Tom Birdie. You want to draft off anything you see. If something's in the racetrack, you want to draft off it. It can be a slow car, and then you just make your way around it. Just try easy on the throttle, easy off the throttle.
Tell him to get his hand inside. That can't be very aerodynamic right now. Chad Hockenbraugh working his way to his first win. 6 laps to go here in Pocono. Welcome back. Pennsylvania Arca 125, under 6 laps of racing to go, and it's Chad Hockenbraugh out in front of the field. He's finished second twice, one of those most recently here in June in the last Arca race. Now 5 laps to go for Hockenbraugh.
And remember now in the Arca Racing Series, once you get to the white flag, that doesn't mean the next flag is going to finish this thing. If we have an incident on the last lap, then we will have a green-white checker to finish it.
Chad Hockenbraugh has led 7 of the 45 laps complete. Still clicking off the fastest laps is Alex Bowman, but he is 22 seconds behind Hockenbraugh. Second is Brendan Poole. He's just over 20 seconds back. And again, as Phil, you had mentioned, all he's got to do is slow down just a bit so that he doesn't have to worry about a fuel issue. Knock a second or 2 off of his lap time, he'd still win by over 10 seconds if he was 2 seconds slower than the second place Brendan Poole.
Just a great pit strategy here for Kevin Reed and his guys. They've been knocking on the door. They've had great race cars. They've been leading races sometimes. And he had a good race car today, too. He had a top 5 race car today, certainly without any kind of pit strategy, but they'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, the times he was running before he slowed up are still, good enough times to finish in the top 5. So definitely have a great car.
Hockenbraugh earlier this year at Mobile had his other second place finish. That was a short track.
I remember he dominated the race last year at Chicago and ended up cutting a tire down late. Ty Dillon ended up winning that race, and he said, I had nothing for the 58 car. His trouble put him in victory lane.
And right now, Kevin Reed doesn't want any trouble on the racetrack from anyone. Does not want the caution to come out as he comes by the stripe this time. 3 laps of racing for Chad Hockenbraugh.
You remember here not that many years ago, we saw Jeremy Clements run out of fuel coming off turn 3 on the last lap to lose a race.
And I'm sure that Chad Hockenbraugh does not want to hear that story. Hockenbraugh now with a just over 17-second lead over Brendan Poole. We talked about earlier it was about a 26-second lead, so quite a bit of time has dropped off. But again, just 3 laps to go, actually less than 3 laps. Hockenbraugh makes his way through the tunnel turn and heads off to turn 3.
I'm sure Chad's watching that fuel pressure gauge right now, actually sticking his hand out the window, get a little bit of air.
And these are probably the 3 longest laps of his life right now. So definitely, and especially to be at Pocono, and make them even longer.
Long straightaway that he is on now. 2 to go. 5 miles away from his first win. Hockenbraugh goes by the grandstands and into turn number 1.
You know, I mentioned that his parents weren't here. They were actually on the way here, and his dad Greg said his back was hurting so bad they ended up turning around and going home. First time he's never been to one of his ARCA races.
I'm not sure he'll ever be invited back.
I've had a similar incident. My first win was at Talladega, and it was the first race my dad had ever missed. So he was banned for a little bit.
You know, as a driver, he's got his hand out the window. He looks like he's out on a Sunday drive.
Oh, yeah, he knows right now he's got this thing in the bag if the caution flag doesn't come out or he doesn't run out of fuel.
16.5 seconds, the difference between 1 and 2. Hockenbraugh in front of Brendan Poole. Poole has a 2.5 lead over Alex Bowman. Kimmel running 4th. Buscher is running in the 5th spot. Reed, Lofton, Enfinger, Kimmel, and Kanache your top 10. White flag goes in the air. One more time around for the 58 of Chad Hockenbraugh. Coming up on the slower lap traffic. This time he's got to get by Steve Fox. He makes his way through turn number 1.
And no need to take any chances here. Make sure he has plenty of room around him. Remember, we talked about the very top of the show, Venturini domination. They dominated this race here in June. Brennan Poole had the best car here, but unfortunately, that car had the best strategy.
And strategy looks as though it may pay off this afternoon. They're all smiles, but we haven't seen a checkered flag yet. Coming through turn 3, the long straightaway. He sees the checkered flag for the first time in the ARCA Racing Series. Chad Hockenbraugh wins at Pocono.
Boy, it's awesome to see a first-time winner here, whatever series it may be. And we've had 2 of them today.
First-time winner in the Camping World Truck Series earlier in their 50-lap race. And now it's Hockenbraugh, who has the honor of making his way to victory lane at Pocono Raceway.
Well, the good news for Brennan Poole, he may have had the best car, but he will take over the point lead here.
How about the emotions coming from the crew chief? Let's hear from him, right?
That would be Kevin Reed. And to say you're very happy is an understatement, but explain to the folks at home how it's been working with this team and this young driver that you knew you had faith in.
Chad's the best driver in this series. We have as little or least to work with as anybody. And I've got 2 kids that work for me that never give up. We work endless hours to make sure that kid can get to where he needs to be. Greg, you're at home. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jennifer and the kids will be home Monday.
Congratulations. That is Kevin Reed. And folks, there will be a party tonight in New Philadelphia, Ohio.
Good job, man.
You love to see that emotion. I mean, a first-time winner with Chad Hockenbraugh. I'm sure he's going to be emotional in victory lane. But the guy who calls the shots, the guy who made the decision, come in early. Let's get it full of fuel. Let's get in before everyone else. And now he's going to celebrate in victory lane at Pocono as well.
Yeah, just a great strategy by that team, to get him out front. It definitely worked out just as they planned. So very cool for him to end up in victory lane.
The last 18 races at Pocono have seen 18 different drivers make it to victory lane.
That is amazing.
You just can't repeat here. It's just not possible.
Chad can forget it next year, right?
he could just say, no, I'm not going to victory lane. Chad Hockenbraugh, the 10th different winner in the 14 races of this season. And a big smile on his face as it's the first win for him in the ARCA Racing Series.
Boy, Dakota, there's nothing like the first win in a series, is it?
I'll tell you what, it's one of the most coolest things you'll ever do.
The 58 makes its way to victory lane. We will be there when he climbs out of the car. Stay with us here on Speed. Speed brings you up close and personal to all the racing action. Stay informed with the latest racing updates right from the track. Check out the latest news, photos, and video coverage at speed.com and auto racing on Speed on Facebook. The video you'll see very soon on speed.com will be the celebration of Chad Hockenbraugh. And how about Frank Kimmel, 50-year-old Frank Kimmel, who just won his 75th race, one of the first in victory lane to congratulate that 58 team and Chad Hockenbraugh as he readies himself to climb out of the race car. Let's go down to Ray.
Well, here he comes, folks, in his 42nd start in the ARCA Series presented by Menards. Nice little shower here. Welcome to victory lane. This is Pocono, pal. How'd you guys do it?
Kevin Reed, he's the man. We came into this, we had a strategy going. Caution played into our hands. I was getting a little nervous, didn't know if we were going to have a caution there at the end and sort of screw us up, but it worked out perfect. Can't thank everybody enough. Ingersoll ran the Molly Pistons. My mom and dad, my dad's at home. His back's really hurting bad. He wasn't able to make it, so this one definitely goes out to him, but I can't thank everybody enough.
Each and every week, he paces around. I know you're in the car and you don't know this, but he wears out a whole pair of shoes each week. It might be a good idea to tell him stay in bed.
It might be a good idea. He definitely wears out some shoes, I've heard, but again, I can't thank everybody enough. We don't have a sponsor on this car. We've been doing it race by race, and hopefully we can get somebody to come on board for Kansas, and this should close up points maybe just a little bit so we have a better shot at it, but I can't thank everybody enough. Everybody on this car that giving us product or everything. It's awesome.
Fifth in points, Chad. I know that's not the most important thing. Getting to victory lane was it, but talk about the patience it takes to keep your head on straight and stay in the game and get here.
Oh, it's tough. I was watching the race from last week at Lucas Oil Raceway, and And, you know, we had a great shot to win there and just had a motor failure. And it seems like every time something happens. So I was thinking the whole time out there, what's going to go wrong? What's going to go wrong? Doing everything I could. I was saving fuel. That was the hardest thing in the world, is to back off and not go all for it. But I was saving my stuff, and it was just, it's awesome. Everybody on this team, I mean, we're on a low budget, small team. It's great to come out here and beat everybody.
Congratulations. Welcome to Victory Lane. Chad Hockenbrough is here in Victory Lane in Pocono. They pitted on lap 8, went the distance, and second place goes to Brennan Poole. Let's hear from him now.
Brennan in conference now with his crew chief, Billy Venturini. One common theme amongst their conversation: we could not take that chance to pit like they did early, but you had a very fast race car, Brennan.
Yeah, the car was really good. I'm proud of all these guys, and they worked so hard, and they gave me such a great race car. It makes my job a heck of a lot easier. But, yeah, we just, you know, we couldn't chance it like that. We had to make sure that we ran all 50 laps today, and we couldn't take a chance on fuel strategy. So, but congrats to Chad. He's a first-time winner. That's pretty cool for him, so happy for them and their whole team. But, man, we were close. Again, man, we're getting close the last couple weeks, so hopefully we can go get one at Berlin coming up this next weekend. But I want to thank Cometa Gaskets, Queen City K9, Midas Total Car Care, etc., Fire Startup, everyone that's been associated with this Venturini team this year. It's truly been a blessing to work with all of them, and man, it's pumped. We're the points leader too, so how cool is that? You know, Chris and I have been in a tight battle, and it goes back to Legend Car days. Me and him raced each other back in Texas, ran for a few championships. Here we are racing again, so this is pretty cool.
Now, when you point race like you have so long, does that come into play as soon as Monday in the discussion of what you're going to do for race week?
Yeah, I think Billy and I always sit down every week and we discuss. Heck, we hang out. We get lunch together every single week and hang out. You know, we play golf. So, you know, we go over the strategies and try to do everything that we can do. But, you know, right now we can't take a risk of not being able to finish. You know, today we had to run all 50 laps, and at Berlin we got to run all 200. So, you know, we're just going to take it one lap at a time and one race at a time.
You said you were chasing it even through the qualifying laps to get ready for the race. The car looked awesome in the race. Was it what you expected? Was it still something to have a handful with?
It was a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. We had a heck of a qualifying lap. That totally surprised me because we'd been tight in practice and we kept trying to free it up. And then finally there at the end, you know, we stumbled upon something and got better and had a heck of a qualifying run. And then I think being up front all day and the clean air helped us a lot. But, man, this thing was just right. And that last set of tires was a little funky, though. The car was pushing around, and it was just kind of skating. It was doing some weird things. But you know, that first set was great. Hoosier does a great job. So, you know, I'm just happy to be here. Pocono, man, we're close. Really wish I was standing over there right now. I get to watch all the celebration. But, you know, I'm just happy.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. If there was a caution late in the race, would you have something for him?
I think we had the fastest car at the end of the race. I'm not sure if, you know, we were trying to just ride and not take any chances through all the lap traffic, but I think it would have been exciting, you know, for sure. I think we could have got by the 58, but the 22 was right behind us, and he was really good today, too, so I think we would have had a fierce battle to the end.
Nice run to second, Brennan.
Thank you, guys.
Plus 15 in the points. Poole is a leader going into Berlin next week, guys.
Thanks, Jim Trado. We talked so much about this being a family series and a family sports. And Phil, I know your brother, Benny Parsons, was able to win a championship and really springboard his career in the Cup Series from right here in the ARCA Racing Series. And I know you've got another brother who is heavy on your heart right now.
Yeah, my brother Steve's going through some pretty serious health issues, and I just want to give a shout-out to him and all his family back up in Michigan. The ARCA Series has been so much a part of our lives, our whole lives, and my brother Steve's been such a big part of my career and my brother Benny's career. So I want to give a shout-out and tell them I'm certainly praying for them. Thank you.
The celebration will continue for Hockenbrough and the whole 58 team. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, it takes a little work to figure out how to celebrate in Victory Lane because it's the first time for Chad Hockenbrough, but he did get the top off of that bottle of champagne and sprayed the rest of the team.
He's not old enough to drink it, though.
No, he's not. Hockenbrough, just 20 years old. Let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Alex Bowman started 6th today. He'll come home 3rd, led the race today. Summarize your day at Pocono.
It was a tough one. We were real strong off the bat. Everybody at Cunningham Motorsports did a great job. Just got to thank St. Jude's for still being on board. Follow me on Twitter at Alex B Racing on the car, so something different we do sometimes. But it was a tough one. We went backwards pretty badly there in the first run and came back to them there at the end after the green flag pit stops. Just got beat on strategy there by the 58.
How disheartening is it, Alex, whenever you have a top 5 run like this, you look up there on the board and right there's the 17, right there's the 25, Kimmel, all the guys that you're trying to race for a championship are finishing right by you.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we're racing a great group of guys for the championship, and we're just we're trying hard. You know, it's been tough all year. We've had a lot of bad luck. I feel like without that bad luck, we might be leading the championship, but it's not the way it works. So just got to go win some more races. Hopefully that'll help the championship on its own.
All right, go get them. That's Alex Bowman. And, of course, guys, we've got a couple of good races coming up here in the next few weeks as ARCA's in this long, long stretch.
Yeah, you're right, Ray. I mean, Berlin Raceway, Illinois State Fairgrounds, Madison International Speedway, DuQuoin State Fairgrounds, Salem Speedway, and then they end the season up at the Mile and a Half Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, we talked about the last couple of weeks, the last couple of races. They're in the middle of a 13-race and 14-week stretch here. That's pretty incredible. And all sorts of different kinds of racetracks, including some dirt.
One guy still very much in the hunt for the championship, Frank Kimmel, is with Jim.
And guys, the top 7 in points in this coming into this race finished 1 through 7 in the race itself. Right smack dab in the middle of all that is Frank Kimmel, 9-time champ. Very sporty run here. Tell us about your race here to 4th today, Frank.
Well, it's hard to catch them in points when they all finish right around you. But, yeah, it was a good run today. We tried some pit strategy here. It worked out. Was going to work out okay, I thought. Had a little trouble on pit road. I don't know if I didn't get enough down pit road. Our stop wasn't quite as good as it's been all year, but those guys have done a great job. So, you know, we made it through the end, and the car's in perfect shape, so we'll go on the next one.
You chewed up to 95 points into that lead heading into this race. Talk about how big that win was last week at Lucas Oil Raceway. You're 75th here in the series.
Yeah, that's really big. I mean, that's as all the wins that we've had, there's been some really special ones. That was pretty special, and special for me, my family, my team. You know, Jared Prince has done a great job all year, and Rich Lutchis, those guys, the entire team worked their asses off on this car every week, and you know, they're working 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock, whatever it takes to get it here. We got our best-looking car when you roll in the garage, and so far they've been pretty fast.
You talked about the comfortability with your Thor Sport team. You made a big change in the offseason, but one big bonus is Matt Crafton's kind of helping you through things and saying, try this on it or try that. He even raced with you last week. How important is his input in what you're doing?
Well, I think it's great that he takes the time to do that, and you have somebody with his expertise in driving and all the knowledge he has. I'll take any advice he has. Most of the advice he gives me, especially when it comes to racing. Anything else, I don't know. But now Matt's done a great job. We've become really good friends. And Johnny Sauter's the same way. And Dakota's doing a great job over there, too, and really seems to be picking up his program, too. So it's really great to be a part of this team right now.
Frank Kimmel back in the hunt. 3rd in points, 80 points out of the championship, guys.
Thanks, Jim. Well, from your teammate, Frank Kimmel, 444 starts, the 9-time champion. Again, closing in on the all-time record wins in the ARCA Racing Series. 79 by Iggy Katona. He has 75 now. Dakota, it's got to be great to have great teammates like this.
You know, Frank is a great guy. And before, you know, we were teammates. When I had my first win, you know, he was the first person to come and congratulate me as competitors. So he was always been a good guy, and, you know, he's helped me out a couple of races, actually spotted for me. So, you know, really glad they got their win last week, and, you know, that definitely gave a whole boost to the whole Thor Sport team for sure.
Nice job on the 12th place finish today in the Camping World Truck Race just before this race. And thanks for joining us up here.
Yeah, no, thanks. It was fun. It was a great race. Good view from up here, too, so it was good to watch.
It is a good seat.
We're normally having to kick people out because the air conditioning for some reason is so appealing. But thanks again to Dakota Armstrong joining us up here. Stay with us, more here on Speed from Pocono. Pocono Raceway, the site of 2 50-lap races. The Camping World Truck Series started us off, and then it was the Pennsylvania Arca 125 that has just concluded with a first-time winner. Chad Hockenbraugh goes to victory lane. Another guy who's been to victory lane a few times, 7 times to be exact, but not today. Chris Buescher finishes up in the 5th spot, right?
Well, and it's been such a seesaw battle in this points race this year, Chris Buescher. You came in 10 ahead, go out 15 back. It's tough when you're racing these guys week in and week out.
Yeah, that it is. You know, we've been trying to do everything we can to get a little better on these bigger tracks, and we're slowly working our way there. We just need that little bit of extra to keep up in front in the points here.
Summarize the upcoming races and your expectations of what we have coming up here in the ARCA series.
This is usually where we do our best, really. We come some of these really short tracks where we have really good cars, we run really well, and the dirt tracks we had a win and a really good run last year as well. So, you know, we're going to the places where I'm a little more comfortable, and we seem to run a little better. So we got a good shot at getting this points lead back and carrying it on through to Kansas.
14 different consecutive winners here at Pocono. What's it going to take to add your name to that list?
It's going to take 15, I guess. We just we need a little extra to get in the winner's circle here. And, you know, I think they did on purpose. They put us right next to the 58 car, so we got to watch him be where we wanted to. But, you know, overall, good race. I think we're the highest finishing Ford again. Seems like almost every week we're right there, so just plugging away here.
All right, good luck the rest of the way. It's been a lot of fun to watch this points race battle back and forth. Let's go back to Jim Trado.
Another Ford finishing 6th is Ryan Reed's number 15 machine. Ryan, you had a great run. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we really did. You know, for the past couple of weeks, we've really been clicking. And, you know, first of all, I just got to thank all the people that support me. You know, a little over a year ago, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and it was a huge setback. I was told I'd never be able to race again. And so to be standing here in front of you, you know, it really means a lot. You know, we put a lot of effort into this, and I've raced since I was a little kid. And to be told that you'd never be able to race again really, really hurts, you know. And so it just means a lot. My doctors and everyone who have worked really hard to get me here. I got to thank, well, first of all, the car, JDRF car. We're supporting JDRF through Ryan's Mission. That's my foundation. And, you know, I got to thank iRacing, Accelerate. It's a drink I use to prevent low blood sugar, made by Pacific Health Labs. You know, I really got to thank all those guys for supporting me.
This Venturini team has certainly clicked with you as well. The last 4 races, all top 10 finishes. You had talked to me yesterday about all the different changes, and now it seems to be the right situation.
Yeah, you know, the crew chief I started with, we only got through Daytona and Mobile with, and then he left the team, and it really set us back, you know. You know, we just kind of got behind the 8 ball, and it's taken us till now to catch up, and unfortunately it's getting close to the end of the season. Wish we had some more time, but, you know, we've had some really, really good runs, and I'm really proud of these guys. It's kind of what being a type 1 diabetic is all about, never giving up and just really working through all the bad times and, you know, get to the good times.
At 18 years of age, guys, he has everything in the right perspective. Another 6th-place run back-to-back for Ryan Reed. Guys?
Yeah, great run for Ryan Reed. And how about Brennan Poole, who had what looked to be the winning car, but it was Chad Hockenbraugh who became the 18th different winner in a row in the last 18 races here at Pocono, Phil.
Yeah, that's amazing, and I think their strategy was so good. We talked about it very early on. Somebody could get to pit road and make everyone else pit under green. Even if they would have pitted under caution later on, he still would have had the track position. It worked out perfectly for Chad Hockenbraugh and Kevin Reed because the caution never came back out. They had plenty of fuel to get to the end, and they won by over 15 seconds.
Now, just 6 races remain for the 2012 season, and right now it's Brennan Poole who's out in front in this points race. He started on the pole today. That got him 15 extra bonus points for that pole win, but he's only 15 points in front of Chris Buescher now at the end of this one.
Yeah, and you've got a 9-time champion, Frank Kimmel, right back there in 3rd. Alex Bowman, who's won 3 races this year, only 175 points back. I think at the very least right now, this is a 4-horse race. Chad Hockenbraugh, if he continues to do the kind of things he did today, he's going to race his way into contention. But right now, for sure, 4-man race.
A great gamble by Kevin Reed, able to get Chad Hockenbraugh out in front and win this race by over 13 seconds. On the next all-new Hard Parts, Joe has been putting Hector through the ringer. But find out what happens when Hector gets the chance for a little payback. Catch an all-new episode of Hard Parts, South Bronx, Tuesday night, 9 Eastern, only on Speed. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Messina Wildlife Management. Stop animal damage with Messina Wildlife Management. And by Aaron's. You don't need credit. All you need is Aaron's. Let's go back to the garage and the other Kimmel standing by with Ray.
And that would be Will. He started 9th today, finished in that same position. Summarize a day at Pocono. We had a long green flag run.
Yeah, you know, I watched the truck race, and we kind of expected that right off the bat, but I didn't expect one caution. But Dad did a nice job keeping the car around all day, and we preserved our tires, come in and made a green flag stop. Got back out, and our Ford ran good. It's a solid day for us, 9th place, so we'll roll it back and make it better.
I know Berlin's next, but the dirt races are coming up. How excited are you about that?
I'm really excited about the dirt. You know, we can take an older car there, and hopefully our experience pays off, and my experience on the dirt pays off. And we'll run 2 dirts, and hopefully we'll go to Salem and run good there. But this is a part of the season I look forward to, so I'm excited.
All right, go get him. That's Will Kimmel. Let's go hear from the driver of the number 16, Trado's there.
Finishing 7th is Matt Lofton. You know, we mentioned top 7 in points, finishing 1 through 7 in the race. Matt Lofton right in the middle of all this. How was your race day today in the 16?
We were pretty good there at the end of the race, just with the way the pit strategy played out, and then the green flag pit stops, we kind of got strung out, so we really weren't racing forward, you know, just running laps there at the end. But we were really hoping we could have got a caution to get clumped back together. I really felt like we had a 5th, 6th place car there at the end of the race, but you know, strutmasters.com crew did a good job today, and got to thank John and all the guys, and real happy my teammate, car owner Joey Coulter, got a win over there in the Truck Series. That was really cool to watch him get his first win before our race, and wish we could have followed it up with a doubleheader there.
Matt, I heard you on the radio a couple times talk about how tight that Chevy was, the strutmasters.com Chevy. Did the pit stop make a big difference, or are you still fighting a tight condition?
Yeah, we made a big swing at it there on the pit stop and really helped it out. Really just fought tight with it all week long. Really had a hard time getting the right front in the racetrack, and especially through the tunnel turn. Really seems like the racetrack and the tire kind of give up a lot since we were here in the spring, and I don't know if it was just weather or what it was, but really fought a lot of front grip today. Made some big swings at it there, before the race, and then another little swing there at the end of the race, and we're just a little bit too late. If we could have got caught back up, I feel like we might have gotten a spot or two out of it, but we needed a little bit more to get it to the front.
I'm guessing it adds a little confidence coming back to a racetrack because this is your first full season in the ARCA Racing Series. How about going to Berlin and the dirt tracks? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm really looking forward to going to Berlin. The team has run well here before, and Joey won his first ARCA race there at Berlin, and so we're taking the car that he won with, and we ran really good at Elko and a lot of the really short places, and short flat track racing is kind of my specialty. So we're looking forward to Berlin, and the dirt tracks we'll just try to go and have a lot of fun with it, and wherever it winds up is where we wind up.
Hey, great run today, Matt, the 6th.
Thank you very much.
Matt finished 7th, 6th in points right now, guys, heading into Berlin.
Thanks, Jim. Take a look back at what took place in those very quick 50 laps. Michael Levine in the 95 early on by himself gets up into the wall.
He just got a little bit out of the groove. He was aboard in the 66 car of Nelson Canache. Got up in the loose stuff there, lost the back end, made slight contact with the outside wall. Did get back in the race later on.
And while that was happening, Don Thompson in the 0 was trying to come onto pit road. Wasn't successful getting onto pit road right at the entrance. Car catches on fire, so he's able to jump out of that race car. They tow it back behind the wall.
But Rick, that was it. That was our only caution flag. Chad Hockenbraugh took advantage of this caution. There he is right there to make his one and only pit stop on lap number 8. He had plenty enough fuel to get to the end, had a fast race car, and there was probably the fastest race car right there, the 25, along with the 22 of Alex Bowman as they battle for the lead. And unfortunately, he had to pit under green later on.
And while those two were battling for second, it was all Chad Hockenbraugh grabbing his first ever win in the ARCA Racing Series, and Kevin Reed, crew chief, was ecstatic as well and very emotional as they went to victory lane for the first time together. And it's always fun to celebrate in victory lane. We've got 6 more races remaining on the ARCA Racing schedule. One more here on Speed. That will be the season finale at Kansas Speedway. But how about the diversity that this series takes on? Illinois State Grounds as well as DuQuoin Fairgrounds. Those are both dirt tracks.
Yeah, remember, they're smack in the middle of a 4-week-in-a-row stretch here to end up this 13-race and 14-week schedule.
So the 14th race is in the books. This time it's Hockenbraugh celebrating as the teams are loading them up and getting ready to head to the next track. Welcome back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Let's go back to the garage and Ray Dunlap.
Grant Enfinger started 12th today and finished 9th, but I have a feeling that you're not really happy about that.
No, it was a tough pill to swallow, but it's part of the deal of racing. We had a really fast car, really good in race trim. I think we could have run top 2 or 3, legit. It had taken some magic to beat the 25 car, like the 58 did. But had a little trouble on pit road, had a tire get stuck in the fender, and that's just part of racing. So had a little miscommunication there, but appreciate everybody at K-Site, Roush Yates, Motor Honey, everybody at Worth for making this race possible. Just, it's getting frustrating. These races are really hard to win, and feel like maybe we didn't give away a win today, but we gave away a strong finish.
What's next on the schedule for you?
Good question. So
you don't have an answer yet?
My life is kind of week to week right now, so this deal got put together last week. There's an off chance we'll be at Berlin next week. I just don't know. Trying to put together a deal at Bristol for the truck, and it's just tough living week to week right now.
All right, that's a fair assessment. That's Grant Enfinger, finishes in the top 10.
Thanks, Ray. Well, we wind up our 14th race here. It's Chad Hockenbraugh who gets to celebrate. But how about the emotions like Kevin Reed, that crew chief that got his win with Chad Hockenbraugh?
Yeah, he's an emotional guy. He used to work with the Victorinis, and he got to victory lane, and he was emotional then. But there's nothing like winning your first race. And for somebody like Kevin Reed to be a part of Chad Hockenbraugh winning that first race, it was something special to see.
Yeah, and again, Venturini Motorsports has really been dominant over the past few weeks, and right now they look like they are in a perfect position to win a championship once again in the Arca Racing Series. But they've got a few races that they've got to get through before we crown a champion. Thanks for joining us here on Speed. We'll see you next time.